Hi, welcome to Ssempa 360 tonight. HIV/AIDS. Are we losing it or are we making it? Why is it that most of the billboards in the city have to do with condoms when the majority of Ugandans are young people below the age of 18 and for whom sexual activity is a crime of defilement? Is the current HIV/AIDS campaign hijacked by special interest groups, whether big pharmaceutical companies? And is there a problem when those who are very strong on pushing treatment are the same people who are gaining from the sale of those drugs? I want to talk about this and maybe regain the glory of Uganda's HIV/AIDS campaign with none other than Dr. Ondoa. Give your hands together as we welcome the doctor. Doctor, you're most welcome.
Thank you, Pastor.
I know HIV/AIDS is not an interesting or a very exciting subject to talk about, but first I want to say it's good to see you.
Thank you.
We were used to some older people last time. I mean, the person you took over was Dr. Kiumuro Apuli. But you're a much younger, newer leadership. Is this going on? Is there a new face to the campaign?
Certainly, yes.
Huh?
Yes.
You said, I can see visibly there's a new look.
Yes. Yes.
How long have you been in the AIDS Commission?
Actually, today I make 1 year.
Wow. Come on, let's give a hand clap to Dr. Christian. 1 year. Woo! 1 year, 365 days.
Yes.
You survived.
So far.
Before that, you were the Minister of Health.
Yes.
Before we go into HIV/AIDS, and I now got so many things to ask you. Tell us about Christian. Who is Christian? Where does Christian come from? When we see you here today, where did you didn't fall from the sky? Give us the roadmap of how you ended up here.
Well, Christian is Madi by tribe.
Madi.
Yes.
How do they greet over there?
Ingoni.
Ingoni.
Yeah, Ingoniko.
Ingoniko.
Ebenyira. Oh.
Okay.
Yes, I was born in Moyo district. That time Moyo and Adjumani were one district. My parents, my late dad was a magistrate.
Oh, wow.
And my mom was a police officer. She's still alive, but retired now.
So the police officer arrested them, the magistrate judged them?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and because they were civil servants, certainly they valued education. And so they gave me good education. And I was able to go through primary, secondary, and university, and graduated with first degree as a medical doctor.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
What schools did you go through?
I went through several schools because of the nature of work of my parents, being transferred from one town, one district to another. But I began in Gulu, then in Moyo, ended up in Kampala. Then I finished my primary living in Old Kampala Primary School.
Oh, wow.
Then went for my O-level in Moyo. Yes. Moyo, that time it was a difficult time. 1986, I remember, is the time I sat my senior 6. And I remember vividly during the time of Lakwena and others. So the week we were to sit exam, Lakwena cut us off.
Oh, no.
And so the day we were to begin our exams, we couldn't because the exams couldn't reach us.
What?
I remember...
So how did you sit there?
It was physics, was the first subject, and this was what was determining what I will become.
Oh, wow.
I really wanted to be a doctor, and you know you have to do physics, chemistry, and biology. So physics was the first paper, and we couldn't sit. So the UPDF thought very, very quickly and flew the papers to us by helicopter. But the papers arrived at 5 p.m.
Oh, wow.
when all the country had sat. And the rule with UNEB is that you can't postpone it to the next day.
Oh, my
you have
God.
to do it that day.
That day.
So we started exams, physics practical exams at 6 p.m.
Wow.
And this is a school where there was no electricity.
Oh,
so
my goodness.
I was doing this pulley and putting my table with hurricane lamp.
Wow.
You know.
Wow.
And competing with somebody in Gayaza,
Yes.
in Magunga.
Wow.
you know, but
Wow.
yes, that was the scenario.
My goodness.
Anyway,
Did you make it?
the testimony is I made it.
Wow.
And, you know, at our time, Namagunga and Gayaza were the top best schools.
Competing.
Yes. And by faith, I put Namagunga as my first choice and Gayaza as my second.
So which one did you end up in?
They took me in both.
From a school in Moyo?
Yes.
Wow.
But I didn't learn about Gayaza until the second term.
Okay.
I learned about Namagunga and then I went there. But Gayaza kept my place. And they began to inquire about this girl from this rural school. We are keeping her place. If you know her, please tell her that her place is still intact. So one of the people they asked was my aunt. And she said, no, she's got a place in Namagunga. You can't give that place away. So that's where I came from.
Wow. So you went through Namagunga?
Yes.
I was in Namilyango. We used to come for socials in Namagungas.
That's where good old days to remember.
When were you in Namagunga?
89.
Okay.
I mean 87 to 89.
Okay, that was about the same time I was in Namilyango.
How come I didn't see you?
Don't know. But I think you were in the secondary school.
Yes.
I was in the high school. I was in the days of Mao, Norbert. We would visit over there from Namilyango.
Yes.
And had socials.
I was in high school, though also me, it was the A level. But I think because we were more of science and the others were more of art.
Yes. We
interacted more with
the science people. What's wrong with that? We need to have more science and everything.
Right.
So, are your parents still alive today?
My mom is. My dad passed on. But after my dad died, he died while we were still young. And my mother remarried. And my stepfather took us up and brought us up. He's still alive.
Oh, wow. How many children in the family?
We're 5 children.
5?
Yeah, for my mom, yes.
How many girls?
3.
3 girls?
And 2 boys.
2 boys.
Yes.
What position do you hold?
Firstborn, of course.
Come on! You have not failed us. Firstborn usually have this, we're going to get things done. Trailblazers.
Yes. If you see the history of the American presidents, most, if not all, were firstborns.
Wow.
And most CEOs, if you analyze, there's that analysis, CEOs and those in position, most of them are firstborn. Yes.
There's a programming God puts in the firstborn.
Yeah.
Now, I want to get into, you were in, before HIV/AIDS, you were in Minister of Health, and you were very much involved in bringing immunization. This was a surprise to me. I have to let you know, I was very miserable when you were shifted out of Ministry of Health, because I was watching this sort of thing. We had a period of scandals in the Ministry of Health. There was Gavi, then there was Global Fund, and I was dragged before a commission to explain my grant that I had in and my group turned out the best, just so you know. Give a hand clap to me also. But I never got another grant after that anyway. So anyway, I was miserable. What happened? But 2, you did some good things with immunization, and you were able to bring in new credibility, new respectability. Tell us, how did you do this? And new funding.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank the team, which was there with me. I had a good team. And I also want to, above all, thank God. He orders our steps. I think he knows that he took me there for 2 years, and after 2 years, what he wanted me to accomplish, I had finished.
Wow.
And now where he's put me, he knows that there's an assignment that he wants me to do. So I take it as a joy that, well, this period is over. I am in this one. I need to do my best here. Now, what happened in immunization is that at the time I became health minister, we were grappling with immunization. We had very low immunization coverage. And we were even having outbreaks of diseases like measles and some spots of polio. So we needed to step up the coverage from about 50% to over 90% to achieve good coverage and no outbreaks. So we diagnosed 3 problems that if we tackled it, the coverage would certainly go up. One was funding. Government gives us good funding, but we needed the additional funding from Gavi because this will help us to mobilize, the parish mobilizers, pay health workers extra allowance and so on and so forth, and replace the old fridges and so on. Then we needed more health workers. Our health worker ratio of the health workers filled position, the percentage was only 53. That meant at some facilities there was only 1 health worker. And this, if he's 1, he can't go for outreach to reach that child whom the mother cannot bring to the facility. So we needed more health workers. Number 3, we needed a system that worked. That meant we needed to dismantle UNEPI, which is Uganda National Expanded Program on Immunization, because their performance was not good. So we needed to dismantle that and put in place a system that worked.
A performing one.
Yes. So those were the 3 things we needed to tackle. I was on the Gavi board then. I was a Gavi board member.
What's Gavi?
Gavi is the Global Alliance for Vaccine Initiatives and Immunization. Yes. This is the organization that, you know, supports developing countries and the countries that whose immunization
is
very down and whose government's per capita income is at a certain percentage. Yes.
You did not mention a 4th one. The 4th one was your department had been riddled by scandals. And there was a credibility issue of funding. I mean, they cut off Global Fund, they cut off Gavi funds. So whereas maybe you did not put it under the first resource allocation, but your department suffered a credibility issue, whether true or not, in the limelight, whether those accusations were true or not. But as long in a charity world where you depend on donors to give, there was a credibility issue. So I would put that as number 4.
Okay.
How did you overcome this?
So now, when I was in Gavi board, I started negotiating for my country and really urging Gavi to give us support.
How did you get on the board of Gavi?
I was nominated by the former Minister of Health for Rwanda, who is now the Secretary General for the East African Community.
Richard Sezibera?
Yes.
Well, he's a good friend. I went to school with him.
Yes.
Oh, wow, that's he recommended an excellent man. He too is an excellent man.
Yes, because he was leaving the Ministry of Health, Rwanda, and joining the East African Community.
Really?
So he needed a fellow person from the constituency. We have Gavi constituencies to replace him.
Wow.
So he nominated my name. That's how I got
That's a good thing. Mr. Sezibera, good job. You nominated the right person.
Thank you.
So you were on the board.
Yes.
And you begin to speak about Uganda.
Yes, and really, because immunization is also on my heart. Children, I specialized in children, and more so in HIV in children and immunization and malaria. So those are dear to my heart.
I know we're running short of time here, but I want to tell you what happened. Give me a fast forward on that Gavi project.
So Gavi does a background check on me, and they find that I have integrity, I have honesty, and I can account for funds. And I can supervise the funds well. They also do a background check and find out that I had been a former regional coordinator for immunization, and my region had performed very well.
What region was that?
West Nile region.
Really?
So they had no doubt that these funds will be put to the right use and that the immunization coverage will improve. So they give us money, about 50 billion Uganda shillings for vaccines, which we got. We got new vaccines, and there are about 50 for health system strengthening.